The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Welcome back to the edition of K4Wins. I'm Tony Kurre. Right below me, Keefer. He's the chief editor of the Las Vegas Sun, live out there in Las Vegas. To his right is Gregory. He's been doing the handicapping thing now for over 4 decades. It's fantastic on both sides. The legend, of course, Keefer, my good friend, and my co-host in the starting lineup. We do a show here locally on ABC 3340, which, by the way, you can watch on the internet. It's local. It's a local show here in Birmingham. People are like, how can I watch it? Dude, the internet's been around for 20 years, man. We're out there. So watch us live on our YouTube channel, and you can watch us every single week if you don't have a boob tube in front of you. So his name is Keefer, executive director of the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino. We only have about 30 minutes, so I want to go down to Case. Obviously, a little bit of a hangover after Super Bowl this past week.
Case has a hangover?
Just, I bet you probably do, just a little bit. I imagine that sometimes Las Vegas looks a little like New Orleans the night after Fat Tuesday. After Super Bowl, everyone's kind of walking around in a daze, scratching their head. Their underwear is hanging out of their shoe. They don't know what hotel they're in. They're just trying to figure out what just happened over the last 4 or 5 months when it came to collegiate and professional football. But tell us where Las Vegas is right now. Go ahead.
He's back.
Yeah, you're good.
You broke up for a second. Yeah, maybe a little less so this year than past years. I know. Now that sports gambling's so legalized, maybe we're seeing those effects, and maybe you guys didn't hear about it. But it was always a big thing when the numbers came out post Super Bowl about how much handle they had, how much they held, and Nevada Sportsbooks won yet again. I think in the 30 years they've been tracking, they've only lost on 2, maybe 3 Super Bowls, but the action was way down. Actually, this was one of the fewest number of bets Nevada's taken on a Super Bowl in the last, I don't remember what it was, 5 or 6 years. I heard some reports around town that the crowds were pretty slim comparatively for a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, it might just be a part of a larger trend. I mean, tourism's way down here in general, a lot less people. So, I think it was kind of a bummer for the city people. It seemed a little less packed this year. But the house still took home a big win, but I think there was only like $120 million or something.
Was that because of the actual matchup? Was it because
that's what we talked about?
Yeah, was it because of the point spread? I would imagine that sometimes you take more action when you see a game around 3 as opposed to a 4.5. And second of all, it was the second most watched Super Bowl in Super Bowl history. There's only one of the Super Bowl that was viewed more than this one, so obviously people wanted to watch it.
Yeah, I think the matchup was part of it. Actually, the point spread should have helped if it was maybe. I think the matchup's a part of it, but usually these guys are crying that they want a point spread that allows people to bet both the money line and the spread. These last 3 years or so, I can't remember what year we set a record. I feel like we had fallen just short of a record, and what everyone said was it's because it was basically just a money line. If it's 1 or 1.5, but it's 4.5, you could have bet. A lot of people bet the Patriots on the money line. It was that old Super Bowl thing, whereas if you're back on the underdog, you'd rather have the money line. So that in general should have helped them. I think another big factor, just overarching, is our international tourism is just no one's coming from international anymore.
Really?
And I think part of those viewership numbers is the NFL is just exploding globally.
And
that's their whole focus.
Why is that?
America doesn't have the best reputation right now among people from other countries. So I think that probably had a lot to do with it. I think the matchup had to do with it. I don't know about you guys. It just didn't seem like there wasn't there just wasn't a whole lot of buzz for the game, at least comparatively. I mean, I know it's still the biggest event of the year, but I think like last year having the Chiefs go for 3 in a row, it just seemed like there was more excitement.
Yeah, going into this season, of course, the underdogs have been 5-0 the last 5. Overs 3-0. We bucked that trend, went the opposite direction. Kai, I was keeping in touch with him throughout the week, and he mentioned the fact that at least from a local standpoint, everybody was on the right side, and the local guys didn't do very well, but evidently Las Vegas did. Why is that different?
That's a great question. I mean, the public, I think if you look back, I think the public's done very well in the NFL this year. And if you because a lot of favorites and a lot of just crazy lines have covered from what I have seen here anyway. But also, I echo kind of what Case was saying. I know from talking to some locals here, they did not have as much play on the game as they usually do, especially on the sides. There were a lot of prop plays. but not a lot of people just jumped on board. I mean, if you had 100 players, you're used to 90 of them playing the Super Bowl, and about 50 did this year instead of 90.
Yeah, and Kip and I were doing a show. We were actually talking before we do our show on Saturday mornings between 10:30 and 11 o'clock with a legend, of course, Terry, and Case is a big part of that as well as we go to the West Coast. But you were talking about just the matchup, and is it a good thing for the National Football League? Maybe in this particular case, it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't the star power that you're used to. I mean, there's no Mahomes, there's no Saquon Barkley. I mean, there are players on the Seahawks that certainly, if you watch the NFL a lot, but for a casual fan, they probably didn't know much about Kenneth Walker. Hopefully they do now. Even Smith and Jigma, who was just a dynamic receiver, is kind of obscure, I would think, because Seattle being on the West Coast, they're probably not seen as much. And the Patriots are, as I pointed out last week, I thought they were the story of the year with their renaissance. But, if you really analyze their season, they had a remarkable year, and Mike Vrabel deserves all the accolades possible, but it's just not a team that was front and center. I think the matchup was probably as much to do with it as anything. I don't think people harken back to the good old Tom Brady days looking at this Patriot team. They certainly are a marquee team with tremendous value. And like you've pointed out, they've been there at 20% of the Super Bowls, but the matchup just didn't have the pizzazz of Eagles Chiefs or, other big time kind of entity teams in the league, and
teeny boppers were not watching to get a glimpse of Taylor Swift.
Exactly, that's a great point. The NFL really screwed up by not giving her the 15 semis full of $1,000 bills and coercing her to be the halftime show. That was been the only thing maybe would have saved it.
Case, I think it's interesting too. We always say the chicks dig the long ball. Listen, whenever you say, wow, what a game last night, it's a 48-45 ball game. No one ever says, wow, what a ball game last night.
8 punts in the first 9 possessions. This is awful.
When it's 13-9, no one says, did you see that game last night? That was amazing. It's always a 53-52 ball game. So we knew going into this game, it was going to be heavy defense. Defense sucks. Let's face it. Every time, I love defense. That's what football is all about. When you go back to your fucking grave, you're 93 years old and you used to watch Bear Bryant on TV on Saturdays. Go pull up some of your VHS tapes and tell me how that is now, because everyone knows and everyone loves offense. Did that play into the fact that some people weren't too excited about the Super Bowl 60?
Well, it's funny. I'm laughing because I was so conflicted. I had some people over to watch, and everyone was bitching about the game. I was loving it as someone who had the under, and
there's no doubt.
Yeah, the problem over 7.5.
Could someone score? I'm like, no, we're good. And I ended up losing a little on the prop, so there were some things that happened at the end that weren't great for me. Luckily, Ramondre Stevenson did score, and that kind of made it just a mild loss. But the Seahawks were the biggest decision, so it was a successful Super Bowl, nothing to write home about. But it's that's something that I haven't run into these last few Super Bowls. I think the offenses were just operating at such a high efficiency that I think I might have been under on some of them and lost too. But I wasn't just totally on props wise, just everything no and under. And this year I was, so I was really hoping that it was just a punt fest. I liked the way it played out. I think certainly the way people are talking about it afterwards, I think that's part of the reason why it's going to go down like that. As far as betting, though, I don't think going into it that had anything to do with the betting handle. And I did get the numbers up since I was talking about so much. So Nevada Sportsbooks won about $9.9 million off of a $133 million wager. It's a 7.4% hold. Not that's up there. It's probably a little bit above average, but not not like one of the top 10 Super Bowls ever in terms of percentage or win. And I think part of the issue was a new Raiders coach, Clint Kubiak, who I think very highly of, because you look at the Rams game, he knew they were going to have to take shots, take risks, and they had a super aggressive game plan. I feel like he just came to the conclusion, we're just better than the Patriots. We're just going to play super conservative. Oh, yeah. It doesn't, his game plan was a complete 180 from the NFC Championship. And as I wrote, I think he was an accessory to the crime of the game going down as boring. But I think he correctly deduced that they didn't need to do anything special to beat the Patriots. They just needed to not make mistakes.
And the one thing
we told you right here, Tony, that Kenneth Walker was the likely winner of the MVP. So we had that for you right here on K4.
The one thing that I was praying and hoping on was a Sam Darnold turnover, and it never happened. He had 4 touchdowns, 0 picks going into that game. He had 9 picks going in to the playoffs, and he was responsible for 20 of the 28 turnovers. They had the second number of turnovers, and I kind of harped in that the entire playoff season, and they did a fantastic job. You're right. They played super safe. That's all they had to do with a defense like that. That's what you do. It reminded me a lot of that 92 Alabama squad against Miami, man. Let's go ahead and just play our best. We know what we're doing. We know our defense is fantastic. We know they're not going to score on us. And if the offense scores, so be it. I was a little surprised. Tell me this. Why in the world, when the Super Bowl MVP voting came up for the fans, why wasn't the kicker who had kicked 5 field goals at that point not even in the smelling range of winning an MVP for Super Bowl? I couldn't believe. I mean, he set a record for. I realized how boring would that be? That'd be the cherry on top of the sundae to have a kicker win the MVP of a Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong, but the guy kicked 5 field goals. They don't win without him. Why wasn't he not even in the breath of a Super Bowl MVP? Anybody?
His longest was 41 yards, so that's not too.
Which really, 10, 15 years ago would have been pretty good.
That'd be different if he kicked a 60-yarder, but just like you guys talking to Al last Saturday, I think you said he kicked, 10, 50-yard field goals in his whole career? And when it's something like that, and now these guys are lining up for 60 with regularity. Teams are trying to get to the damn 45-yard line instead of the 32 like it used to be to kick a field goal.
It's never too early for us around here at K4Wins. Super Bowl 61. The odds are already out, and those Seattle Seahawks are the number 1 team right now, about 8-1. I'm just looking at the numbers. Just came out this morning. The Rams 2nd, Baltimore 3rd, Buffalo 4th, Green Bay 5th, Kansas City 6th. They won't go away. Kansas City will not go away. I think there's probably some value there if you can bet against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Eagles, the Detroit Lions. Case, we're going to go heavy on Case this morning here because he's only got about 20 or 25 minutes with us. But what initially jumped out to you? Any particular teams that got some good value for you for Super Bowl 61?
Yeah, there's 2 teams I love right away. I have not bet. I wanted to see it posted everywhere and see if I can get closer to the 20. I mentioned it on the starting lineup. I think I say you can read it on Las Vegas Sun, but for some reason my column in the Las Vegas Weekly hasn't been posted yet. So on exclusive here, 2 teams I'm almost sure I will be on going into next year, 1 in each conference. In the NFC, I love the Lions. But by DVOA, which was a stat I quote a lot, it was the one that had me banging the drum that I thought the Patriots were overrated because their schedule. They were the best team to ever, most efficient team to ever miss the playoffs. I just don't think, I think rumors of their demise are greatly exaggerated. You look at all the guys they still have on the team. Maybe they're a little over the hill. They're getting a little bit older now, but I really think they have one gasp left in them for them to be close to 20. I mean, they were the 1 seed 2 years ago. They've had just a historic rash of injuries 3 straight years
on defense, especially.
It usually doesn't happen that way, that it keeps going. So I really like the Lions. Again, I haven't bet it yet. They're mostly 16-1. I think I've seen 117. If I see an 18, I would just fire. And I might have teased this when they were eliminated from this year's playoff. In the AFC at about the same range, coincidentally. I really like the Chargers next year. Speaking of injuries, I mean, I talked all year about this offensive line was like a practice squad. And I mean, for them to even make the playoffs this year, to me, what was pretty amazing. As you know, I was betting against them every week. To lose Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt might be the 2 best 1-2 tackle punch in the NFL, and they played without both of them basically all year. I think the one thing I'm worried about is Jesse Minter is leaving to go to the Ravens, obviously, and it seemed like he's the guy that blew everyone away in interviews. He seemed like the one guy that could have had his pick of wherever he wanted to be the coach. So maybe the defense takes a step back, but they have some cap space too. I think they're going to get a little bit younger on the defensive side of the ball, sign some guys. I don't know what to do with the Chiefs again. I know you said bet against them. I feel like they should be better next year as long as there's no complications from Mahomes' injury. I certainly feel like the Broncos thing was kind of everything went right this year until the AFC Championship game. I think they'll take a step back in the division. The Raiders will be a little bit better, but they won't be contending yet next year. So I really look at the Chargers might be the team to beat in the AFC West. And if I had to make a bet at price, it would be them in the AFC and the Lions in the NFC.
What's your thoughts, Skip? I know it's way too early, but man, that's what we do around here. We love to talk about it. We love it.
I liked how the teams from usually a lousy division were playing at the end of the year, and I think there's 3 contenders in that one division again. I think the Colts made giant strides this year. They could maybe have a little bit better luck down the stretch next year and finish with all of their pieces. But also Jacksonville and Houston. Jacksonville was, I thought maybe the best team coming into the playoffs in the AFC, and they got Josh Allen at home in a game that they really should have won. And the Texans, too, having to go to New England, maybe weren't ready for prime time. CJ Stroud throws 4 interceptions in the first half. But, I love great, I just talked about it's boring, but great defenses are still the magic formula to win championships. And the Texans are loaded on defense. I like what DeMeco Ryans has going on there. So all 3 of those teams get my attention in the AFC. And Detroit is a good pick by Case. This was a team that all year they were on prime time like every week. I don't know who made their schedule, but it was demonic. Not only did they have terrible injury problems, but go back and look at Detroit's schedule. They played every marquee team in the league. They were like the prime time game every week. I think they're a good play. I think Green Bay too is an up and coming team that had some unfortunate things happen to them this year. The loss in Chicago in the first round of the playoffs was kind of bizarre. And that NFC West, again, the Rams, the Seahawks, and I think the 49ers will retool. I look for them to come back with a vengeance. That's some of the ones that come to mind for me.
By the way, the New England Patriots, who just played in that Super Bowl, 24th out of the NFL, about 13-1. So what does that tell you? I mean, I listen, they had a fantastic season. They had the 3rd best or easiest schedule in the NFL, but to go.
Not how you play, it's who you play.
Well, I'll ask Case right away before we get to Kai, because I want to get his thoughts. Has there ever been a team that played in a Super Bowl and went from playing in a Super Bowl to being 24th the following year to win the Super Bowl 61? Has it ever seen that?
Man, are they really 24th? That didn't jump 13-1. You think they'd be a little lower, but I mean, they certainly, I think in hindsight, and they had a great year. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but I mean, we've had pretty chalky Super Bowls recently. They got to be one of the weakest Super Bowl teams in recent memories. I know, not to rub salt in the wound, but I think the Bengals a few years ago, people weren't expecting much of them the year after they made the Super Bowl. I know they had some holes on their roster. They're kind of the team, I guess I would compare a little bit. I saw some 49ers fans bitching, and I kind of agree that their 2 rivals got to play. The Seahawks and the Rams both got a Super Bowl plan, like the weakest Super Bowl teams of the last decade. Meanwhile, the 49ers gotten there twice and had to take on Patrick Mahomes. So they were complaining, which I thought was kind of funny, but there is some truth to that. Kip mentioned some other teams I'm interested in. If you would have made me throw out a 3rd team, not to say I think they're going to win it, but I've seen the Colts like 50-1. If you think Daniel Jones can come back from that Achilles injury and look like he did at the beginning of the year, I think we just forget. I know we kind of teased Kai and let him go off about him. Like through 6 or 7 weeks, they were the best team in the NFL. They're
8-2 at one point.
I don't necessarily know that that's just going to pick up where it left off last year, but at 50-1, I mean, you got quite a long price for that. So if I had to pick a 3rd team at price right now, it would be the Colts. And I also, I mean, the Packers are every year they look so good on paper and they're so young. I mean, they should be coming into their prime. So I might have a Packers problems. They've let me down a couple years in a row, but they're another team that I think I'll have my eye on, that I might be more on the positive side.
Packers problem. I think I see a T-shirt coming there. And pardon me, by the way, I'm looking at the article. It is the teams with the best values based on their odds. So they're not 24th overall, New England is, but they are 13-1. So they're right there outside the top 10. So they're not 24th overall. So excuse me, but according to the best value of that team, they land 24th. So in other words, they're telling you to stay away from it. Kai, what's your thoughts on some of the Super Bowl? I can't get enough of this stuff. I know the season just ended, and I'm just jonesing, reading all these articles this morning. I just love it already. I can't wait for the National Football League to start all over again, because as messed up as this season was, it was just fantastic to watch. But what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm heavy into basketball and even baseball now, looking at these futures. But I really think New England's going to take a drop off next year. Just depending on their schedule. I love what Kip said about Houston. Totally agree. I love DeMeco Ryans and what they're doing. I think they need one more piece on offense, though, to really get over the top. But a team that none of y'all have mentioned, and people may think I'm crazy, I really think next year may be Denver's year. I like them out there, and I think I don't think anybody's going to be talking about him, and I understand it, especially people down here, because if you're an Alabama fan, you don't like Bo Nix. If you're an Auburn fan, you don't like Bo Nix because he left and went to Oregon. So, but I'm not saying he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I do like Sean Payton. I like a lot of the things that Denver's doing. I need to see the schedule, but I do like that. I would be all over Indiana Jones if he comes back next year. But that's really difficult for me being a Titans fan because, it seems like every Titans game I've gone to when they play Indianapolis beats them. And I hate them, but, sometimes you gotta bet on with your wallet, not your heart.
There's only one guy we go with Case Keefer right here because we love his futures. But according to CBS Sports, when you're looking for the best value, they go with the Rams plus 950. This is in order, okay? The Rams plus 950, Kansas City plus 15-1, Seattle 9.5-1, Denver 18-1, Jacksonville 22-1, Indianapolis 60-1, Atlanta Falcons 80-1 as their seventh best.
Should be 800-1.
You can clip this if they win the Super Bowl and whatever, make fun of me, but saying the Rams at plus 950 is the best value is just insane. I mean, you don't understand the word value. They're in the toughest division in the NFL. They were 20. They would have been great value at the beginning of this year. They were 20-1 to win the Super Bowl coming into this year. Were they the best team? I mean, I still think it's a coin flip between them and the Seahawks. I think if that was at SoFi, they probably beat the Seahawks. But plus 950, that's just misunderstanding the market. That's buying. I mean, you're buying them at high. They're one of the older teams in the NFL still. I do not think
that's exactly why I threw this out, because I knew it was going to fire you up. I absolutely love this. I knew it would. Eagles 13-1 at number 8, and number 9 Green Bay Packers. Then of course the 10th team, the Washington Commanders at 60-1. We'll throw the Giants in at number 11. Again, if you're just looking for a value, if you're one of those long shot guys and you're showing up at the track and you're looking for a 99-1 shot on a horse and that's all you play, and if you hit once every 180 times you go, and you can tell everybody about it, you lose the other 179 dates, so be it. That's the way it goes. All right.
Those 99-1 horses, they're dogs at the finish line with knives and forks waiting for him.
What do they always do? What you used to always tell me, look at the dog who's taking the dump right before he gets into the starting gate. Play that one because he's the lightest.
You could have gotten a price like that on the Seahawks at this time last year, though. So, I mean, I don't disagree. Some of those long shots, there's probably good value on, but I'm looking at the same story as you. You could not convince me the Rams is the best value is atrocious in my opinion. No chance.
We are just about, let's see, today's the 13th, so we're 15 days away from March Madness. Arkansas 5 seed, Florida 3 seed, Georgia 10, Tennessee a 6, Alabama 4, A&M a 9, Auburn an 8, Vandy a 4, Texas an 11, Kentucky a 7 seed, Michigan, Arizona, Duke, and UConn your 1 seeds right now according to Joe Lunardi with his bracketology. Right now the SEC has the most teams in with 11, and the Big Ten is second with 10. Let's go to our resident college basketball guy who's been doing this and putting up Merrimack since the second week of the season. Kai Gregory, what's your thoughts on right now where March Madness is? We actually talked about with Legend yesterday. He believed that Alabama was going to finish up about 3 or 4 seed. And of course, now with Bediako being gone, does that change the view for the Alabama Crimson Tide faithful?
I thought they played better.
Legend said he likes them better with that Bediako. Yeah.
Well, They got their chemistry back of what they played 15 games with before Nate Oates decided, hey, I just want to win at all costs. So, I'm going to grab this guy. The SEC only has 4 ranked teams right now. That's crazy when you look back at the beginning of the season, but you went through them. I mean, Kentucky is a 7 seed in the East, right now. Who would have thought about that? Arkansas, like I said, a 5. I mean, right now, Alabama's a 4 in the Midwest, and they can move up. But looking at these, I mean, the futures, I like some of these values. I'd like to hear what Case had to say on these, but some of these teams for values right now to win it all: Houston plus 750, UConn plus 1300, Florida, who's playing very well right now, plus 1200, Texas Tech plus 2800, Arizona is plus 420, which is kind of crazy, and Illinois, who I think is one of the best teams in the country, is plus 1200 right now. It's crazy. We'll see if y'all can get this. This first one's easy. I'm going to give it out there too. Who's got the longest win streak in the NCAA right now? Men's basketball.
Miami of Ohio.
Correct. 24-0.
Wow.
Tonight, they got a rivalry game against Ohio, so that's going to be interesting. Who's second? Who has the second most wins? It's 17 in a row.
I have no clue. I just knew the Miami of Ohio game was tonight. That was the only reason I knew that one.
St. Louis, who also had.
Oh, they're still. I didn't know they were hadn't been beaten. Wow,
goats.
Yeah, and this is the third one with 15 wins in a row. Anybody?
15 in a row.
Zero chance y'all get this.
No, I don't know.
Liberty.
Merrimack.
Liberty.
Liberty's won 15 in a row. They kind of struggled early on too. They didn't look as interesting.
Damn, Liberty's coming on in basketball and football. That university's got it going on now.
Yeah, but look at what we've got going on this weekend. You've got Clemson and Duke. By the way, Duke's over/under, their overs are only hitting at a 29% clip. They're playing very good defense. Had a little bit of an injury this weekend or last weekend, but UCLA, this is Saturday games. UCLA at Michigan, Kansas, Iowa State. Going to be a very good game right now. Iowa State's 5.5-point favorite. It'd be interesting to see if Peterson decides he wants to play, doesn't want to play, what money he's going to get this week, not get this week. Northwestern, Nebraska, St. John's, Providence, Texas A&M, losers of 3 in a row against Vandy, Pitt, North Carolina, Kentucky, Florida. Going to be a great game right there. Purdue, Iowa. Texas Tech, Texas Tech, Arizona. I mean, just some strong games. And then the SEC, we talk about it. Kips, Georgia Bulldogs against Oklahoma, LSU at my ball.
I don't claim them lately. They're not playing very well.
Mississippi State at Ole Miss, South Carolina, Alabama, which I think is going to be a great game, and Texas, Missouri as well.
All right. Anything sticking out to you? Of course, we do the show here on a Friday. We're doing it live. Case, before I know you got to leave here in just a few seconds, but anything else going on? I wanted to ask you the question, and you can finish it up before you have to split. But it is a weird time during the season here down in the South where college football is king. Everyone kind of shuts it down. There's no reason to do that. We got K4Wins. We can make you a winner all year long. Why don't you build up that bankroll a little bit before college football season comes around, because it'll be here before you know it. But where's some of the best value coming up? We got Major League Baseball, some futures to look at there. And I know you haven't looked particularly at those, but where are some of the good value you got over the next, as far as let me ask you, where does Case make his money between now and college football season? That's the question.
I mean, you guys probably know me from doing the show for a year or whatever. Is I bet a little bit of everything. And, honestly, I'm not having a great college basketball year. It's been fine lately, but I got off to a really bad start. I mean, college basketball had been my best sport the last 2 years. Somehow it just skyrocketed. Everything seemed to go my way. I was probably running a little hot. So this year hasn't been great college basketball, but yeah, I mean, I've really made my hay on futures long term, and I think now would be a great time to look at the baseball stuff. Of course, I say that, and I don't have any bets. I don't think I've made a single bet, but this is the kind of time when you want to jump into that. This is a little bit before the markets have matured. I think a lot of people with the bigger bets, you can't even really get that big of bets down yet. So you're not competing against kind of the titans of the industry, so to speak.
It's a homer bet, but I really like Boston over 87 wins this year with the pitching. That just throw that out there to see what you think about that, Case.
I guess gone.
I knew he had to leave on the 30, so I was trying to get that in there. But Boston over their 87.5 wins for a future with the lineup they're going to have, and with their pitching lineup especially, they've got me, and I really like. I think it's going to be relatively strong. And Tony was wondering what you thought about your
So glad you came there, because I actually had Terry Francona. I think is a great coach. He wins wherever he goes. He's the difference maker in Cincinnati. They will go to the playoffs. I'm not saying they'll win a World Series. They haven't done it since 1990. But I had the over last year. It came down to the second to the last day of the season. Dude, they were flying over all year long. It was so slam dunk. It was like the under in the Super Bowl. I was praying, by the way. I was praying that last touchdown was going to count in the Super Bowl. So it would go over the total, because I know everybody in the world thought there's no way in hell this game is going over the total. And if that thing would have gone over, I could just imagine I'd be sitting there going, oh no, you got to be kidding me. That's why. And Holding brought
number
it back.
51 offense.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm telling you, there were hearts breaking all over the world. Now that would have been a killer.
But everybody been under. Nobody who had any sense was their heart stopped. It wasn't breaking.
Oh no, it would have been. It would have been horrible.
Your Bengals total is actually lower this year. It's 82.5 games. I'm sorry, your Reds. Not
Reds,
yeah. 82.5 for the Bengals would be like 12 years.
Yeah. It was 79 last year. I think it was 79.
82.5 this year. And
I love it. I love it. I'm
plus 1,800 to win the National League. they are your Cincinnati Reds. Let's see, what are they? The NL Central, they are plus 320.
That's and that should tell you something. The fact that they're only plus 320 in the Central, but I mean, listen, it always comes down to pitching. I mean, it comes down to Green. It comes down to if they finally got a good core of good Stevens. They got a couple of guys. Their bullpen was not the worst bullpen in the history of the world, like it is every single year. And their starting pitching got them into the fifth inning. I think 82% of the time or something this past year. It was crazy how many times they got them into the fifth. All they got to do is get them into the fifth, close it down. What they need to do is find some bats. And it's unfortunate because they're playing in that cracker box up there in Cincinnati, the Great American Ballpark, and they should be hitting 3 or 4 home runs every single night, Kip, and they're not getting it done.
You would think so.
These smaller ballparks, I know they're always talking about, the left porch out in Yankee Stadium and certainly the entire box, but I mean, it makes me wonder though, getting into the season, Kip, and I know how much you love the Atlanta Braves, and that last year was just an anomaly. I mean, it was just a crap year. It was a crap year for the Atlanta Braves. I have no doubt they're going to be back because they got the money to spend, but there's always something in the first month of the season that people are always talking about, whether the baseball is juiced, whether defense is going to be playing, whether pitching's going over the top, and it's just so good. But what are you looking for as far as the storylines getting into Major League Baseball? And now particularly the games are 20 minutes shorter, which has always been something that's been welcomed.
The Braves have the best odds in their division to win. They're plus 150, and that's the best odds to win the NL East.
Wow, how about that? Because, I think the Phillies will drop off this year. I think they kind of had their window and they've gotten a little older. The Mets are spending like crazy, so that division is going to be competitive. And the Marlins aren't even terrible, or the Nationals. So, but I'm going to spring training next week, so I'm going to get a firsthand look and really looking forward. I love going down there for a couple games in the spring, and I'm going to see the Braves against the Orioles and the Detroit Tigers in back-to-back days, so I'm really looking forward to that.
When is that again?
I'm extremely jealous.
When is that again?
I'll be at those games a week from Monday and Tuesday.
Man, I mean, that's good stuff.
I'm going to the horse races at Tampa Bay Downs on Friday and Saturday. So
there you go.
Getting to Florida.
Who would you guess, Kip and Tony? Don't be cheating, Tony. Don't be looking on your computer. What do you think are the best odds, or who has the lowest odds to win the World Series?
Well, the Dodgers, obviously.
Yeah. Believe it, they're plus 195.
Oh, I thought you would have to pay money if you bet them. Yeah.
I was really surprised at that. But guess who's second? And what do you think it would be second? I mean, of course, it's an easy team to pick. But
the Yankees.
Probably the Yankees.
Yeah. But so the second best odds are the Yankees, and they're plus 850.
And I still don't. I don't know what they've done about their pitching, but I still don't think it's very good.
Your Braves are plus 1,400.
Yeah.
And Tony's Cincinnati Reds are plus 3,300 to win it all. There's some crazy odds, but there's some pretty good odds. Atlanta's win total is 89.5, minus 15, but if over or under either way, the juice is set at minus 15.
Boy, and this is a perfect, because I used to play with Chuck, the hit hider. He was a guy that did all these trick shows with golf balls, and he could hit golf balls with these drivers that were like 13 feet long. He could make balls kiss in the air. And I'm thinking to myself, if you can do this out of the box, why aren't you on the PGA Tour? And he goes, I'll tell you exactly why. He goes, I can hit 74 all day long. All day long on any golf course, you name it, Pebble Beach, you name it, I can hit 74, but I can't hit 71. And he said those 3 strokes are the things that make the difference between a guy like me and a guy like, whoever else is going to be playing on the PGA Tour. And that goes to show you just how close it is, because right now you're looking at 81 and 81 would be 500 ball, but a 90 and 70 season's pretty good. That's a pretty decent season. 90 and 70. You win 90 and 70, your chances are you're going to the playoffs. There's only a 10-game difference. And do you remember the Cincinnati Reds? I think they lost 7 games this year, 1-0. They lost one game where they were down. They lost one game where they were down 11-0. They were up 11-0, right? The Reds, I think, were up 11-0 in the game and lost. So when you look at those games and think it's a long season, it's like anything else. It comes down to a game of inches, man. It comes down to 3 or 4 different inches. And then when you get down to like the last game of the year where 2 teams are playing for that final playoff spot, that should tell you in 162 games just how important every game really is, and how important every game managing is too.
Well, yeah, but if you look at it, just what you said, Tony, exactly right. 90 wins is a great season. 3 teams have a team total of over 90 wins. 3.
Wow.
One
Really?
has a team total of over 100. The Dodgers are at 103. The Yankees are at 91.5, and the Mets are at 90.5.
That's the
So
only
that tells
three in
us
Major
90
League Baseball.
Yeah, 90 wins is a great season.
Wow.
Hey, so I got a question for y'all. I'm kind of reversing on you, Tony, and into basketball. So just looking at the SEC where we are real quickly, okay? I just wanted to bring this up to y'all. So think about it. 2 weeks ago when we did this show, Texas A&M was number one, right? Florida, Kentucky way down. Well, now Florida's number one in the SEC, 9-2. They've won 4 in a row. But looking at these schedules, because they have, I think, 6 games left in the division, but Florida has their next 3 games. What's their record? Kentucky, South Carolina, at Ole Miss. Are they going to lose any of those games?
I don't. If they were going to Rupp, I think they. But having Kentucky at home, I think they'll win all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And so Kentucky, who's number 2 in the SEC, plays at Florida. Then they've got Georgia, then at Auburn. What's their record? Is it any worse than 2-1?
Should be.
Okay. Then Arkansas has Auburn, at Alabama, Missouri.
Stuff.
Yeah, they'll probably lose 2 of those.
Stuff. Yeah.
And then, so Tennessee right now is tied for 4th with Alabama and Vandy in the SEC. Well, Tennessee has LSU, Oklahoma at Vandy. I don't think they'll win at Vandy. So if they go 2-1 at best, any differentiation there?
No, 2-1's good.
Yes, I think that's
Alabama has South Carolina, Arkansas, and at LSU. Is that, am I crazy? Is that not 3-0?
It should be. Arkansas is the only game I'd say they have a shot at losing.
Yeah,
so
because
that jumps them into probably a tie for second by the end of next week. Vanderbilt has Texas A&M, at Missouri, Tennessee.
I think
they could lose all 3 of those games and they could win all 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt is kind of schizophrenic. I mean, they go back and forth.
Let's look at Texas A&M. They play at Vandy, Ole Miss, at Oklahoma, and they have Texas A&M's lost 3 games in a row.
Yeah, Buckyballs hits a snag.
They have a little bit, and they need to. Now's the time of the year, man. You don't want to go 3-7 your last 10.
Who do y'all think has the biggest win streak and the biggest loss streak just in the SEC?
Well, right now, I guess I don't know how many Kentucky's won consecutive. I know Florida's won 4 or 5 in a row. Kentucky's won like 8 out of 10. I don't know how sequentially that falls.
So, right on it. I would not expect anything less from Kip. Florida's won 4 in a row, and Kentucky has won 3 in a row. Alabama's won 3 in a row. Missouri's won 3 in a row. Texas has won 3 in a row. All right, now let's get into the losses in the SEC. Who has the biggest loss streak? Anyone? What is it? Come on.
Well, Georgia won at LSU, so they've lost like 4 out of their last 5 or 3 out of 4. But as consecutive losses, I'm going to say.
Oh no,
Oklahoma. I was
maybe say Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oklahoma just won on the road last week.
Okay.
Remember?
Oh, okay.
I think they beat LSU. I'm not sure.
LSU.
Tony, what's your guess?
LSU.
Ole Miss has lost 6 in a row.
Wow.
South Carolina has lost 5 in a row.
I knew they're playing terrible.
Texas A&M's lost 3 in a row. Auburn has lost 3 in a row.
Yep.
Mississippi State has lost 3 in a row.
Auburn, I know Auburn's upcoming schedule is daunting too. But I mean, I think they better get it together, because if they don't finish if they finish under 500 with these remaining games, they might be right on the bubble.
Well, they're 5-6 in the SEC, 14-10 overall. They've got at Arkansas this weekend, then at Mississippi State, then they host Kentucky. They could lose all 3 of those games. The way
they could
every time, the way the dude number 12 from Mississippi State, oh my gosh, what's his name is, the way he's shooting. I watched him keep Mississippi State in the game against Tennessee the other day. They had 28 points at the half. He had 20 of them.
Yeah,
I think he ended up with 36 points. He was just freaking on fire. Mississippi State goes on an 18-0 run in the second half when Tennessee's up by 23. It's just Hubbard to see him the way he was playing from them. And Auburn, I can't remember if it's number 5 or number 12, left-handed kid for Auburn. Watching him play the other day, but they take some bad shots. And I'll tell you what, nepotism is alive and real, and anybody can say whatever they want about LeBron and Bronny. Do I think Bronny James even belongs in the G League, much less the NBA? No. But has anybody ever gotten a job easier than Stephen Pearl got this job? And he's struggling mightily. I'm not sure his dad didn't set him up for failure, though, leaving knowing that the team was not going to be great.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because Bruce Pearl's the head coach right now. They've gotten at least 4 more victories than Steven's gotten. And we talked about that going in. It was the biggest. I had to be careful because the guy I was meeting with was actually an investor friend of mine. And I was talking about Bruce Pearl, and he had just gotten back from Israel with Bruce Pearl because Bruce is one of his best friends. He's like, be careful. I just got back from Israel with Bruce. I'm like, okay. I said, I hated the way that went down. I don't like it. I think they should have gone through a coaching thing whenever someone, and it just lurks. It just is a bad feeling of when you. I don't know what Steven did prior to that. I listen. I'm not saying he's going to turn into a Jeff Lebo, and I'm not saying 3 or 4 years down the road he's not going to be winning 22 games at Auburn. It's his first year. I'm going to give him a benefit of the doubt. But when you talk about a Bruce Pearl, a guy who could be a Hall of Famer, leaving the way he did, that hurts.
It was almost a replay of the Bobby Knight, Pat Knight thing, and that didn't work out worth a damn.
Yep.
No. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say Stephen Pearl is going to be a better coach than Patrick Knight was.
Oh, okay, well, he can't be much worse.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't think it's a big limb or a limb that I'm going to fall off of. I think that would be okay. I mean, but you look like Patino's son. Rick didn't just quit and get him a job, and he's done pretty well.
And but it took him a while. Yeah, it took him a while.
And if we had this conversation,
he got the 900th win against. He got his 900th win against.
Oh, that's right. If we had this conversation 2 weeks ago, Auburn had looked like they'd gotten it together. They'd won 3 big games in a row, and now they've gone the other direction. So I guess you have to wait for the whole body of work to come in because Auburn has the personnel. They could rebound. I think how Petway goes is how they go, and if he's not playing well, they don't win.
They just got to get to March Madness, man. They just got to get in. And, if they're part of the situation next season, they're probably in because they're going to probably double the field. So they're going to have no problem getting in. Everyone wants to get to the double the field situation or at least add 5 or 6 teams to it. So,
so do you agree with that, Tony? You want them to expand, don't you?
Absolutely. Am I correct? Yeah, I don't know if I want to double the field, but I certainly think that we could add at least another 20 or 30 teams to it. And I don't think it'd take away from it's Cinderella all over the place. I do think it would muddy. The teams that don't want to do this are the Blue Bloods. They don't want to deal with the Merrimacks. They don't want to deal with the Liberties. They don't want to deal with these basketball teams. As a fan standpoint, I think it'd be fantastic. Listen, of all the major leagues, only 13% of all teams in college basketball get into the postseason, which is ridiculous. In NBA, it's 40-something%. In Major League Baseball, it's 30-something%. In NFL, it's 39%. Everyone gets in. And all it does is this keeps the fan bases engaged longer to the season. It means more money for the league. It means more merchandise. It means more home games. It means more opportunities for me to enjoy my basketball season for the season. If that means my 20-10 Xavier Musketeers get in a year when they don't, hell yeah. It gives me another week to watch my favorite team, and I'm all for it.
But why not stay at 64 and let the NIT and the CB, whatever the hell it was called,
CBI.
Get those other teams? You're right. Maybe Blue Blood.
They'll do away with the CBI, and of course, you also have the CBA, which is also you have to pay to get in that league. Listen, no one's watching these games because they're competing directly with. Now, there are some CBA and CBI games on off nights. Because what sucks about the NCAA is, man, you're cutting it in half every single time you play a game. And, man, the first weekend is fantastic. The second weekend is unbelievable. The third weekend, you're going, wait a minute, just Thursday and Saturday? And then the fourth weekend, it's over. I mean, it's like it's that fast. So give me more basketball, man. Give me more shit to watch.
Where's the 5-week bye for the top teams?
Really?
Hey, well, I'm just telling you, this weekend, Saturday, you can go to your couch at 10 o'clock in the morning because the first game starts at 10 and be on it till midnight. And you could watch some great games. I'll throw one out at you that Kip loved the other day when we posted UT Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah.
PW. They're playing at Stephen F. Austin. UT Rio Grande Valley's won 8 in a row. It's going to be an interesting game.
And that game's actually on TV?
Yeah. Stephen F. Austin's won 10 in a row.
Wow.
So those two teams, something's got to give there. Tonight, man, Michigan State's -1.5 at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's 12-2 at home, but we're getting close to March Madness, and one of the things they always say you do late in the season and in March Madness is you do not bet against Tom Izzo. And I made a lot of money through the last 15 years listening to that. I know that Case and I argued and agreed on this last year a little bit about that, but man, some of these games. are just incredible. And like I said, Tony Curry, useless fact that Tony loves, he brought it up last week, made me look at it. Not only their spread record, but their over-under, 86% of their games have gone over the total, and they play tonight.
Huh.
There you go. Yeah,
hey, welcome back, Kay. What do you think about Tom Izzo?
I think
I'm not an Izzo hater. I think he's a great coach. I think our argument last year is if you bet on the guy the last, I don't know, 5 or 10 years, like he is not lived up to the reputation. You've lost money. I'm sorry, but I think this is one of his better teams. I do like Michigan State.
A great accordion player too. He can play accordion with the best of them.
So I'm not. I'm not looking
Tony Curry useless fact right there.
He can play accordion. He could play accordion like no one's business. It's amazing. I've never seen a guy play the accordion like he does since the '60s and laughing.
I'm not betting tonight's game, but I like tonight. If I had to make a bet, I would be on Michigan State. I tend to have been on the Spartans a little bit more this year than against, so I probably won't have any Izzo rants this year.
All right. You guys got anything else you want to throw out there? This is K4Wins. Go to K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. We're all over social media. Just because football season's over doesn't mean we're not going to be up and do our thing here on Tuesday, Fridays, 10 o'clock Central Time on the TKR Network. We get after it every single day, and we greatly appreciate everybody watching. Anyone want to add anything else?
I do like the over in that Wisconsin Michigan State game, even though it scares me with as good as Michigan State can play defense. Wisconsin shoots the ball really well at home. And like you said, one of Tom Izzo's best teams, Michigan State's playing well. I like that. And I'm going to buck the trend, Tony. I'm going to go with the 18% or the 17.4% going up a little bit and think that Miami-Ohio game, rivalry game, is going to go under.
They've had some close games. Miami has. We were actually against them. Was it who they play? Buffalo, yeah, about a week and a half ago, and plus 3.5. And Buffalo was not a very good basketball team, but they were on the road. And it's like Kip says, man, when you're on the road, man, you have to allow for those little point changes. I love that when I see like
especially if you're undefeated on the road.
When I see a 22-3 team that's a 4-point favorite over a 14-13 team on the road, give me that team at home all night long. Give it to me all night long, baby. I know it's hard, and if they get blown out, so be it. But it never happens that way, so that's good.
Let me ask y'all a couple of games for tomorrow to see. So, and it's a later game. Texas Tech at Arizona. Arizona's minus 9.5. Who covers?
9.5. Wow.
I haven't done the numbers, so I'm just going straight up top of my head. But 9.5, I'd take Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's too many. And Arizona's been they didn't beat Kansas on Monday without Peterson. I mean, they've had some really close calls since we saw them down here right before Christmas, just annihilate Alabama.
Yeah, Arizona looks really, really good. I'll say that this, I think, is a turn game for Texas Tech. I think if they get inside the number, they may have a little run. If they don't, they're done.
Clemson's at Duke. Duke's 11.5, and the total's only 133.
That's a lot of points.
And I'm going to take Duke only because, first of all, they're at home. My son goes to Clemson. He's seen every home game this year. He really thinks it's a good and they are a good basketball team. They're a top 25 squad, but Duke's defense is playing out of their brains right now. They're playing Duke defense like I've never seen before. That's why so many of those games are going under the total. I think this could be a scrappy little 70-55 kind of game, 70-56 kind of ball game. So I'm going to take Duke and give it up to 11, but don't tell my son.
Here's a quick question. Has Duke improved with Coach K retiring for Shire? They seem like a juggernaut now.
They're close, man. They're close. They're really good.
Oh, they're getting some studs that play there also.
Shire's got
if you talk to people in the basketball industry, especially late in his career, I mean, Coach K is very questionable from the schematic. I don't even know how much time he still won a title there late. I'm not trying to besmirch the guy, but I think if you ask people if you ask coaches who's tougher to prepare against just from X's and O's wise, I think Shire's light years.
But we will all agree that Coach K is untouchable, correct? I mean, can we just, we're not.
I mean, no, he has an amazing career. I don't think, I mean, it's crazy to last that long, but I think, especially look at some of their losses, who all they lose to, Lehigh that one year. They also somebody else in the first round. He just made no adjustments. I mean, I really don't think the
first time Nate Oates sat there and said something bad about Coach K, I was like, you know what, screw you, man. I mean, if you're Nate Oates and you're coming into the league at Alabama his first year and he's talking about, well, at least we don't play teams like Duke does. Like, get out of here. Go get Bidiaco and go do your thing and whatever. That's how
I did not know Nate Oates said that, but I can tell you he's not alone. I've talked to coaches that said, like, what's Coach late in his career? Like, what is he even doing? I mean, he really just.
Nate Oates just said it publicly, which was different. And what I got two more. So Purdue is -1.5 at Iowa tomorrow. I really think that could be a trap game for Purdue. I really don't like that, but one that we got to get the opinion on because he didn't give it earlier. Number 9, Kansas at number 5, Iowa State. Iowa State given 5.5. Case.
I'd have to lay it with Iowa State, although I've been pessimistic on Kansas all year. And they talk about win streaks. I mean, they've won a ton in a row now. It feels like they're playing really well. But man, it is tough to play at Hilton. And I mean, especially with the Peterson not knowing will he or won't he. I like Iowa State's roster better. So I actually, off the top of my head, I would think that'd be more like 7.5. Surprised it's only 5.5. I think now might be the time to sell a little bit on Kansas.
I haven't seen the line on Kentucky and Florida, but since the Kipster is the resident SEC guy, what do we think? Kentucky at Florida. I'm being Tony Curry for a little while.
We got 1 minute left, by the way. I got to go.
I don't think anybody's done a better job of coaching this year than Todd Golden because he's got a completely different kind of team that he had last year to win the title with. It was guard oriented. Now it's big man oriented. And boy, they're playing. I watched a lot of the Georgia game there. Florida is just playing lights out right now. UK's on a good streak, but I like the Gators at home. I think they're going to keep it going.
All right, K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. By the way, Nate Oates did apologize to Coach K after saying that, so I have to go back and look. I don't remember him apologizing, but he did 3 days later, so I guess he's back.
A lot of other guys need to, because I'm telling you.
He's back in my graces, I guess. Yeah. He basically said he seemed to question Mike Krzyzewski's motives after the Duke coach called for a reassessment about playing college basketball during a pandemic. He said, do you think if Coach K hadn't lost his 2 non-conference games at home, he'd still be saying that? And then
that was complete BS. I totally agree. He had a bad game.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right.
So
you're totally right, but you just don't say it. And that's what I say. He's untouchable. You just leave it alone, man. Don't go there. You're not going to get any points by attacking Coach K until you win a national title. I'm not saying Coach O won't get that done. 6. Or at least 5 or 6. Coach O. All right, guys. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. We'll catch you next week.
All right, fellas.
See you.
See?
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.